Hello, welcome back again. Video today is an Atari 2600 VCS purchased from eBay. Sold as spares or repairs. There should be a console, there should be controllers, there should be games. It's quite a big box, so this one's going to be a bit of a challenge to get on the desk and open up. But, let's see if we can do that. Let's go down to the desk. Grab this humongous box. Can't fit it all in. Can't even fit it on my desk. So the challenge starts already. Let's open this up and see if we can make this a bit smaller. Let's move that off the desk and see what we've got in here. It's looking like Atari stuff, isn't it? So that's the let's take a look at these bits first. Don't know what games it came with. Let's move these out of the way. We'll take a look at those in a minute. I mean, you can't buy an Atari without having at least a few games, can you? Otherwise, is that the one that came with it out of the box? Was that the default one? Tank, Tank Pong, Invisible Tank, Biplane, Jet Fighter. See, Atari, when they built theirs, they didn't have any exposed contact points. Look. Space Invaders and Circus. Certainly remember those. Let's just check, see what we've got in here. Circus Atari. Space Invaders. With documents. Game objective. Shoot the little blinders. Right. Let's not get too distracted by the extras. Let's take a look at these controllers. Well, that shouldn't be sticking out of there to start with, but I'm sure that might be a hard fix. They just pop in there. Actually, the plastics and the paintwork look in good condition on that one. Same with that one. Clicky button. That button clicks, that button doesn't. Remember rightly, inside there was just a piece of plastic that pushed some membrane switches. They weren't of the highest quality, but we shall find out maybe later if they do anything. Let's get rid of that lot and grab the Atari. Now hopefully this came with all the leads I need, because it looks correct. It doesn't look like how it came. I do have a television down here that I've dug out of storage. What's happened to that? So straight away we have a problem. Looks like, because I don't have a power supply for it. Nope. No power supply in the box. I don't know what power that took. may have to do a bit of investigating to see what that does. So we can't instantly plug this in and see what it does. Plastic's got a cover on it. It looks like it's got a plastic cover on it. Where is that printed? Is that printed on top or underneath that? Anyway, it's not a big problem. How does this come apart? Nice big beefy switches. Damaged label. I think before I actually do power this up, and so I can't without sorting out some power for it. Actually, I should be able to power it from my bench supply. Manufactured in California. I think that's supposed to be telling us. Sunnyvale, CA. Let's take some screws out of this and see how easy it is to open up, shall we? Jump straight in. This is, because I can't plug it in, I think I might as well open it up just to see what it looks like inside before we chuck it on the bench power supply. We can have a look inside, see if it tells us what voltages we need. If not, I'll have to look it up. I'm just undoing all the screws I can see at the moment. Pop them over there. I'm going to guess those ones have to come out. It's a bit of an odd place to put screws. Those ones do not want to drop out. Ah, got that one. And that one. Magnets, very helpful. Get this, that one, and that one. I think that's all the screws. Sorry, just bashed the microphone. Let's see, does that unplug? So I suspect all these switches are going to be a little bit suspect. I think we could run this as it is. Take that off. As you can see, not the most complicated of electronics ever made. Let's take all of this off. Just have a quick look. nothing obviously looking wrong with this at the moment. Let's pop the screws over there. Are there screws in there at one point? Not sure. God, that's a tight one. What's inside here? Ah, a more complicated circuit board. It's clean in there though. 1978. So the Nintendo Game Boy and the Sony Walkman I did were 10 years newer than this. Something's stopping that coming out. And there's some nice old-fashioned electronics. But quite honestly, looks in very good condition, considering how old it is. Can't see any sign of corrosion. I can't bring you too close because that's as close as I can get you on this lens. But it's not super complicated. Certainly easy enough to see by eye. No corrosion. No damage that I can see. A 7841, I think that was the processor. Definitely over here, 7805 is a 5-volt regulator. So the input, I'm going to guess, is more than 5 volts, because normally you need to put more than 5 volts into a regulator. So it's got some up and down movement. Yeah, I think we could possibly work out what power this needs. What I'll do is I'm going to pop the plate back on here just so we don't short anything out. It was definitely worth a check. It was a 78. I've got to take it out again now. Just have a quick look again. It was a 78, and I think that was part of the 6502 family, if we're asking. Should have made a note. So these are the chips we've got here. That says it's a 7815D. I'm going to say that's a memory controller chip because it appears to be connected to lots of the, or even an I/O chip because it's connected to the cartridge. This one down here I think is the processor. MA, is that Motorola? It's not got the Motorola logo on it. This one down here, maybe a sound chip. Don't know, we can dig into how this worked. And then we've got a potentiometer here that I'm curious about what it did. my plans with this I think if we're talking about coding for old machines, I think it'd be interesting to see if you could write something for this whole Atari. Wouldn't think it'd be that complicated. He says, the person that never got his head around assembly language. Might be a good one to get my head around though. I think that the 6502 processor, and potentially what this is running with, were the computers I used to have at college. I am talking a long time ago, not as long ago as this was made. Yeah, that makes sense. That was in everything at one point, the 6502. Let's get this back together because I'm going to... we can risk powering that up without putting it completely together. Do have a bit of dust in there. Is it really? I'm going to argue that those computers you've just named did more with it than the Atari did. They did have helping processors though, didn't they? Graphics chips and things. Let's just get a bit of dust out there. Let's put all these switch covers aside. Should have 6 of those. Nothing written on this with regarding the power adapter. So I'm going to have a quick Google, because I think the first thing we should do is maybe this doesn't work, yeah, simply because the person didn't have a power supply for it. Right, what I need to do is to jump down into this cupboard and find my bag of adapters. Because I need to find the right one that fits on the back of this. Do have several to choose from, and as we can see on my cable I made the other week for the power supply, I can change the end and make that fit what I need it to. That one was what I was using on the Walkman, so don't need that one. We'll put that back in there so we don't lose it. Let's have a look, see what we've got on the back here. Looks like a stereo plug. Nine volts on the tip. Did these have any lights or LEDs or anything to tell if they were on? Not sure we're getting anything in there. I think either this power connector isn't big enough, or that looks very broken. It does look very broken. Look, the side's missing. Can we see? What that does mean though is I can see if that's actually making contact. Tie myself up in cables. Just put my glasses back on. That is now drawing current. So we do have a bit of a dodgy power connector. Turn it off, turn it on. Turn that off. Did these output anything about gaming them? Don't recall. Because if that's now working, my next job is to get the TV on and see if we can get the TV tuned into whatever channel this is outputting to. So on is up, colour is up, A, B, and then we've got reset. So something happens when you switch it on. How much current is that drawing at 9 volts? 270 milliamps. Turn that TV off. I think the fact that something's coming out of it is a good sign. Right, so we've got power going in. Negative, positive. 9 volts going to there. So nothing looks like it's shorting. Does anything look like it's been worked on? I mean, some of these joints aren't fantastic. But I suspect this left the factory looking like that. Let's swap this lens out for something a bit closer and we can take a close look at this board. Right, let's take a look at what's going on here. Let's come in a bit closer. Unplug that while we inspect it. So these joints don't look fantastic. But they also don't look like they've been reworked to me. It's going to show what I can see here. Some of these joints are potentially iffy. they don't look like they've been reworked. That one there and that one there doesn't look good to me. I've got to assume this used to work at some point. I might just quickly rework some of these joints on here. I mean, this board is the board that does everything. Let's take it off as it's going to be easier to work on. See if we can work out what's going on with this. Pull the video cable off. Get that out of my way. Now, I mean, that's a potential weakness as well, just that connector. Not sure that would stop it coming on though. That's just to the switches and stuff, and we know the power switch is working. Right, what we got going on here then? So directly the power comes in here. Yeah, I suspect you're right. I think that's what exactly used to happen. So it could be that we've got dodgy cartridges. Or it could be we've got a dodgy connector. Now, taking a look at this, that goes through the board, comes in here. So I think I'm going to rework just quickly while I've got this apart, rework some joints. Because if anything's going to get, it's fixed quite well to the board. This has got rivets holding it onto the board, so it's pretty strong. But this is also pretty old. I'm going to rework those. I'm going to rework these and these. And we've got the big chips. Just reflow those with some more flux on them. This is not unleaded solder because it's melting too easily. So that's a nice thing about 1978 electronics. I mean, they moved away from leaded solder for health benefits, but all those people working in factories potentially breathing in leaded fumes. All nice nicely bubbling. It should be reflowing nicely. As you can see, where I've resoldered this with flux, they've gone shiny. Shiny joint is normally a good joint. That didn't take long to do, so I think that was worth having a check. Those pins look like they go straight through the board to me. On there. Straight through the board. Yeah, they're warm, so straight through the board. Where's my solder? I think they're just to go through the board. So I think, as discussed in chat, and I think it's logical, that if the cartridge isn't working, it won't do anything. So I'm inclined to agree with that perspective, because I'm pretty sure that's what it used to do if you used to switch it on without a cartridge in it. This is trying to remember a long time ago though. Let's don't know how, actually. Looking at that, how do you fix that if it's got dirty connectors? Very difficult to get to those pins. Can I say that they don't look particularly tarnished, do they? I think they look in quite good condition considering how old this is. Maybe I should work a game in and out of there with some contact cleaner and see what's going on. Same with that. Let's put that back on autofocus. I'll spray some contact cleaner in there. And you just see friction cleans that up. One step at a time in chat. Let's go with Well, can't see as that's hurt at all. These don't look like they come apart too easily. How does that open? Ah, like that. It's got a spring on that. It pops it out. It's quite cool. Don't remember that. Right. Is it wrong? I like the smell of that contact cleaner. While we're at contact cleaning, let's clean these up as well. You don't want to tighten up enough. Let's not over tighten it. Let's grab the video cable. Very long video cable. That's RF cable, to be precise. So, still have a blank screen. Very temperamental power connector. So with this on, I'm just tapping the board. See if we've got anything loose. Reset doesn't seem to do anything. So I wonder how the video signal gets to there. Alright, no change. It's really stiff to get out of there. Those joints there look terrible. When my lights up. They're on that board, aren't they? Sit over there on the TV. Clean those sockets. Sockets are very often the cause of issues. Capacitors annoying. So it's right where I want to be. Check the pins. It's interesting because that socket was put around the wrong way, because the board markings tend to say the pin one's this end, and I'm pretty certain that's the way it came out. So that's naughty. I wonder if these came out of the factory in the sockets. It's quite unusual. Might as well go for this big one. It's unusual to put chips in sockets. So I'm wondering if somebody's had this apart and soldered those sockets to the board. Or did they just have a lot of problems with them? That one's been put in the wrong way around as well. The notch is there, but the notch on the board is shown up here, and that's the way it came out. Check the pins all look straight and intact. Very gently pop that back in. Just have a quick look, see if I've not bent any pins up, snapped any pins. Right. If we're not going to find problems based on a visual inspection, soldered on that end. Suppose we could do a quick inspection of that cable. Don't think it's going to be particularly difficult. Let's do that again. Doesn't look particularly clean, that connector. Need to change my battery in my meter. God, that battery's been in there forever. Do we have some shorts on those? No, look. I mean, it looks like these are shorted together, but I think they're supposed to be. That one there looks like it's been changed. Horrible flux on that board. Look at it, horrible. That's not come out of my solder. Let's give that a clean up. So this is much easier to solder with the monitor, the screen straight in front of me. Makes more sense logically to my poor brain. Didn't like it on the side. So if these manual inspection, these little reworking of the joints makes no difference, I'm going to see if I can find a schematic for one of these, and we'll get down to doing some troubleshooting with voltages and maybe the scope. See if we can see the clocks coming out of these. Let's give that a clean up. Wasn't sure if there was a short there or not, but it looks like there was. That was probably me. One thing you do have to be careful of is obviously adding faults that weren't there to start with. Easily missed. So, definitely need to look up how you get into those cartridges without breaking them. Can't see any shorts. Right, I think we'll try this one more time. No idea what that does. I think I'd like to find a manual for this if this don't work. It's a nice solid chunk of aluminium, that. Switching on again now. Let's indeed try another cart. I'm going to try tuning around on here, so see if I get a picture somewhere else. Can't remember what channel these used to put out on. So if I can get this working, I think what I'm going to do is you can do a composite video mod. So instead of using the RF modulator, we can take composite video straight out of here, and the composite video is a lot more useful. I can at least feed that into something and share the output of it. And I'm not sure if TVs still come with a composite input, but they definitely don't come with analog RF tuners, which is what this is putting out to. Just tuning around, seeing if I can find an output anywhere else. Can't remember what it was on. Something that had an RF output. I think it was an Atari ST. They came with an RF output, so you could connect it to a TV. And I remember playing ages with one, and then tried tuning it to a different place, and found the correct picture where I thought it should be wasn't. Let's just check around. A blank output from the tuner would suggest the tuner's fine and it's not getting any signal in. So it could be just as simple as it's that 5-volt regulator that's not working. Right, one more look. We have a dodgy switch. Nine volts into that regulator. 5 volts out of the regulator now. 9 in. 5 volts out. Near enough. So the 5 volt regulator looks like it works. One of these corners would be 5 volts. Yeah. 5 volts on that chip. 5 volts on that chip. 5 volts on that chip. So we're getting power to all the chips. This is just me knowing that 5 volts normally goes into the corner of one of the chips, well, at least one corner of a chip, so 5 volts to all the chips. I think we've definitely got a dodgy switch. That doesn't surprise me. It's now flat. That says it's I don't think that capacitor is very good. If I can find a bit of the leg that's not corroded. What is it supposed to be? 2,200 microfarads. That's the positive end. Let's measure it around the right way. So that capacitor's not doing us any. One 622. 1615 microfarads. Just looking at these particular capacitors here, because these are ones that people have been changing, or ones I've been watching people change. 16 microfarads. What is this supposed to be? 4.7? 4.7 microfarads. $16 microfarads. Is there any more electrolytics on here that I can see? There's another little capacitor over here. Can we get to that? Right, I think what I might do is order up some capacitors. Some electrolytics anyway. Because I don't think they are doing well. Obviously these things don't always measure correctly in circuit. I think it's worth pulling them out and having a look. Change the battery in this meter. Oh, that doesn't look good, does it? I'm trying to get in here so that I don't cover up what I'm doing. So I've got a bad connection on too. So why would that be? Quite a lot of solder on these joints. Clean those off. it could be. It's just not making contact inside there. This cable, ribbon cable, can cause issues. I'm curious actually, because this doesn't look like anything I've seen in any of the others I've seen on the internet. This is a fiberglass brush, good for cleaning contacts, especially edge connectors. Let's buzz that out again. I seem to have a connection on pin 2, which we didn't before. So what's pin 2? Well, I have had measured power into the board yesterday. That seems to be positive voltage going into the board. It's bonkers how bad some of these joints on here are. But the only thing I didn't do the other day was clean all these switches, but I don't think it's that. Actually looking in really good condition, these switches. I mean, to be honest, apart from some bad soldering, which looks like it came from manufacturing, it's pretty clean inside. Blow those through the other way. Do get through some contact cleaner cleaning this whole stuff. Right, I think we'll let them switches dry. We'll give it one more try. I'm going to pull those. Oh, make a list of capacitors maybe to change. A little bit more current than it was before. Still nothing though. So back to the main board. I have downloaded the schematic, the field manual that goes through the troubleshooting steps, and right near the beginning of the steps for the black screen it asks you to check what you get on this pin with an oscilloscope. And although I was getting 5 volts, I wasn't getting what appeared to be any sort of clock signal. So it tells you to go back and check a few bits and pieces. Basically, you check back here to where this capacitor meets this resistor, this junction up here somewhere, which I think is there. And again, I was getting the same there as I was getting on the chip. No clock signal, just 5 volts. So I changed this capacitor. This is a new capacitor, and nothing changed. Still the same, just fixed 5 volt here, but no clock signal. While I was working around and looking, I noticed that the resistor that was here looked like this one. This is a new one. I did have this on well, I thought I had it on camera, but I didn't have the camera running, so I'm just going to go back through what I did here. This resistor was broken, and only on a close look could I see that the resistor that was sitting there was broken. I don't know if I have it still. I think I've thrown it out, but it was actually snapped in half, and I put my meter across it and it was completely open circuit. So I found the closest value I've got and replaced it, and as soon as I did that, measured with my oscilloscope back on this pin 10, I think that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Well, it could be pin 11 if I can count properly. The clock signal was there. There was a nice defined clock signal of the frequency that this crystal is. So I went through and then checked all the other points where that needs to go, and they all seem to come up. They all seem to come up and work. So plugged the ball back in. Had a look on the TV screen to see what it was getting, and instead of a black screen, we was getting a white screen. So something had changed. So while I was sitting there contemplating the next steps, I could see a picture slowly start to appear on the screen. And I think what was happening there is the capacitors were slowly beginning to charge up. That big capacitor that's on the top definitely measured low when we was measuring it. So it was taking a long time to charge and a long time for the voltages to get through to all these capacitors. So it started working, and it was all down to that broken resistor down there. So that was the main issue. I mean, we've been through lots of bits and pieces, fixing dry joints and checking connectors. There was definitely an issue on the ribbon cable that we fixed, but the main issue was this chip not getting a clock signal. Without a clock signal, these chips won't run. So the microprocessor and everything else that was needed just wasn't running, which is why we was getting no game output. But once that resistor was changed, things started to come back up. So the next steps are going to be doing some change capacitors and just give this a whole tidy up, and then we'll look at doing a restoration. But lots of preliminary work leading up to that resistor. But I'm going to say one thing: the schematic and the troubleshooting guide that's in the Atari field service manual is what led me to finding that broken resistor. If I'd have looked close enough, I might have seen it, but it was broken, and you could barely see it until you knew it was there. And we've now got a working Atari VCS. Let's have a quick look at some of the video outputs and a quick gameplay, and then we'll move on. Rubbish! shield mode. Oh. Ah, too many at once. Ah, got ganged up on. Mini attack. No, don't sit on the spot. There's only one game on this. It's easier to land on than it is to hit them. So that's the Atari working again. Next few steps. In the next video I will be doing the composite mod, changing the capacitors and restoring the front bezel, because the front bezel on this one is pretty poor. So catch up with me on the next one. If you've enjoyed the content today, please do give me a like and please do subscribe. But that's going to be it for today. That's been more than enough, I'm sure, for everybody to get their head round with the Atari this time. So you'll take care and I'll catch up on the next one.